Welcome to part 2 of this tutorial showing you how to create a piece of artwork in response to the artist Hush. And you join me having sorted my background and put a pink layer over the top of my model. And I have, since part 1, opened up a number of different patterns and graffiti styles that I'm going to use to collage over the top. Okay, so I'm going to choose the lasso tool on this particular piece of graffiti style pattern, and I'm going to take a long random shape and Control C to copy and Control V to paste, and then I'm going to move that into position over here. Now I don't need to really care all that much about whether I'm going over the edges of the top because I'm going to trim those down later. I'm going to choose this one. And unlike the background, I want to keep these patterns vibrant and bold. So I'm not going to be doing much colour changing, if any. So I've cut and paste another shape from this pattern, and I'm putting it alongside the first and going back to another pattern, lasso tool, this time quite a triangular, long triangular shape, Control C to copy, Control V to paste in, and this time I'm going to go over here and put it along this edge. And again, I'm not fussed about whether I go over the edges of the top, but I do need to make sure I cover all of the pink up. Okay. And another, the lasso tool, Control C, Control V, and move it into place. And I think it will work there. No, I'm going to try instead down here, but I'm going to flip it round, spin it round. There, that's better. Okay. Okay, next I'm going to get this Japanese pattern that Hush uses in his work, just to show and strengthen the connection. And I'm going to move it down so it's behind the other layers. Then I'm going to grab this one, lasso tool, copy, paste into that bit there. It's starting to look like too many coloured patterns in one place. I might put a bit of black and white in between that, a bit of a lighter pattern, just to separate those two colours out. So same as usual, lasso tool, then Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and then moving it into position. And obviously considering layers all the time, do I want this above or below? Okay, and rather than you watch me do the rest of this, I'm going to cut back when I'm near to the end. Okay, you join me having placed a whole load of different patterns, and I'm just about to choose and place my final pattern in that one final spot. Okay, there it is. So same as all the others, lasso tool, an area, Control C to copy it, back to here, Control V to paste, grab the arrow tool, bring it down and resize it so that it fits where you want it to. Okay, right, so I have my top completely covered with all the different patterns that I've cut and pasted in. I'm now going to go to the layers and I'm going to go to the top pattern, and holding shift I'm going to click on the bottom pattern, and that selects all of them, and then I'm going to right click and merge layers, and that's going to make all those patterns go onto one layer. And I'm going to right click on that and duplicate that layer, because I want to use what I've just created in another part of the piece. And I'm going to spin that round. Unfortunately, when you're using Screencastify, kind of makes it difficult to smoothly spin things. And then I'm going to move it up to the corner, stretch it out a bit so it looks a bit different from the top. And that's good. And then I'm going to drag that layer down beneath my model so that it goes into the background. Now I don't want to lose those paint drips, so I'm going to right click on the paint drip layer and I'm going to duplicate that layer. And I'm going to drag that layer above the patterns so I can see it. And I'm just going to move it so it feels like a new layer rather than just a repeated layer again. Stretch it out a bit. And I think that looks good. Okay. Right, the last thing I've got to add is some texture into the hair. Hush tends to put kind of this scraped paint look over the hair of the models in his work, so I'm going to take this piece. Before I do anything, I'm going to go image adjustments and invert so I get it dark with lighter highlights, because my wife's hair is dark. And then I'm going to copy it and paste it with Control-C and Control-V into the work. Just bring it up to the right layer so I can work with it. And then I'm going to stretch it so it just covers all the hair. Okay, and then I'm going to make it invisible for a moment, because I'm going to use the magic wand tool on the layer with the hair on and just select a kind of area of the hair. Doesn't have to be all the hair, kind of adds to the rough texture. And I'm going to select inverse, so it then selects everything else. And because I'm on the scraped paint layer, I press delete and it only leaves what was in the magic wand. Okay, right, just zoom out. And one last thing I forgot to do a minute ago was trim the collage at the bottom. So I'm going to go to my pink layer so I can see it. I'm going to magic wand everywhere that isn't the pink area. Go back to my collaged area, make it visible, and press delete. And because I masked off everything but the top, it's going to trim it down for me. Okay. And last thing I'm going to do is go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast. And I'm just going to have a play, one last bit of a play with my model, just to make sure the contrast and the brightness is exactly what I want it to be now that I have everything sorted. And that is it. That is my response to the artist Hush. I hope you find this tutorial helpful.